Getting into the holiday season, if you have a friend or family member that is interested in either getting into Dungeons and Dragons or is into D&D and maybe you're not, you're thinking about something useful for them to get, or maybe you just don't really know anything about the hobby, well, I'm here to walk you through some perfect gift recommendations that I would give, because I am a professional dungeon master, I am a game designer with a specific focus on D&D 5e, and hey, I'm here on YouTube doing this for a living. In this guide, I'm going to be walking you through, number one, how to shop for a D&D player or DM, and then I'm going to be going through in separate videos for gifts for different price points. My number one tip is going to be, if you are shopping for a D&D enthusiast, you may see online people recommending that you pick them up some minis. Now, not every table actually plays with minis, so these might be kind of just not really worth much of anything. They might not get a whole lot of utility out of that. Minis as a whole can be a little bit complicated to look for, and you may not really know exactly what to pick up. You could see these things, I'll put up a picture right here, called booster boxes. I don't think that these are actually worth picking up as a gift. I actually don't think that picking up card packs, unless they're like specifically requested by the person that you're getting a gift for, whatever, these just aren't really a fantastic gift, because you don't really know, number one, what you're going to be getting, and number two, the branding that's on them, you're not always super sure what could be in a booster box and whether or not they're going to get a lot of utility out of that one. If they ask for a specific mini, there are websites out there like Troll and Toad and Miniature Market where you can pick up the specific mini from that set. It could save you some money rather than buying this entire booster box brick just to get a couple minis that they may or may not even wind up using. So right there, in shopping for a mini, just buying them some random stuff isn't really the way to go on that. I would recommend, if they really want to get like their own custom mini, maybe picking it up through Hero Forge or a similar custom mini maker. Make sure that they're not just playing with like Theater of the Mind, because minis could be completely worthless to them. Number two, alright, unless specifically requested, don't just go and grab a random D&D book off the shelf and assume that this is going to be the thing that your D&D enthusiast either wants or needs. Unless they specifically call out a certain title, like Xanthar's Guide to Everything, Tales from the Yawning Portal, etc., etc., it's not really worth it to just go and get a Dungeons & Dragons book and be like, I'm sure they're going to be happy with this. All the different books serve different people, different roles that you're going to play at the table, right? Either you're a player or a DM. Some DMs may be looking to get pre-written modules for them to run. Some of them are just going to do their own homebrew games where they actually write their own world and their own adventures, their own monsters. So it's just not really even helpful to really pick up an adventure unless that person specifically asks for that book. So because of that, unless they're specifically asking for the core rulebooks, which are the Player's Handbook, the Dungeon Master's Guide, and the Monster Manual, the most I would really recommend is at least just getting them a Barnes & Noble gift card, or, whatever bookstore is nearby you. Again, not sponsored by them, but this way they can go and find the book that they want and that they need for whatever role it is that they are playing at the table. With that out of the way, we're going to start on the gifts that are $25 and under. Now, here's the fun thing, alright? If you're looking for gifts for a D&D player, one of the best things that you can do is actually just go to like an office supply store. Legitimately, I'm going to be stoked if someone is filling up my stocking or whatever, gives me a box full of highlighters for marking up my books. I get dry erase markers, or usually wet erase markers for certain battle maps. I also just pick up pens, pencils, whatever. Pencils, for sure. They're going to be marking up their character sheets and all that stuff. So yeah, you can go and just pick up pencils, pens, highlighters, whatever, pack this alongside some of the other stuff that we'll recommend in here, and they're going to get the clue as to why you just gave them a box full of pencils. Seriously, pencils, these are just a great, simple gift idea for D&D players. Next thing is going to be some of these miniature legal pads. I use these all the time to track initiative whenever I'm, dungeon mastering. For players, I can see them using these to take notes pretty easy. I know for my players, I actually give them, I found these on Amazon. These are little miniature, I think they are 2.5 by 3.5 dotted grid notepads right here. So if they want to use these to take notes or draw maps, these are actually pretty cheap and will go a long way to anybody that's coming to the D&D table. Another thing that you might find in an office supply store that's going to come in really handy specifically for DMs is going to be a pocket, like, card size calculator, okay? Very, very simple. This could run you like $2 or $3, but it will go a long way for DMs that are trying to track hit points in combat. Being able to track your big bad evil guy on something like this, rather than doing the math, can help speed up combat. It's just something that helps to like shave off a couple of seconds and keep the pacing up. Another quick and easy thing that you can pick up, I want to say I found this on Amazon for like 10 to 15 bucks. This is, I don't know if you can really see it on the camera all that well. This is a spell area of effect template. If they are playing on a battlefield and they have a mat that they are playing with, this thing is absolutely priceless. Saves so much time in figuring out where they're going to place spells out on the battlefield. Enemies have certain types of like cone effects, so that all measures like all the distance of what these, yeah, this is a completely priceless tool. I have used this thousands of times as a dungeon master. It is a huge aid to my players. This is one of those things that I think like it just basically everybody should have on hand. Since I just mentioned the spell template, if they're interested in playing with miniatures, one of the things that they will need is going to be a battle map. This is one I was just recently using for a game. The one that I'll recommend won't actually have a terrain texture on here. It's the one by Chessex. Dry erase will totally work, but wet erase, with everything getting moved around, pieces and stuff out there like on the battlefield, you can tend to just like accidentally erase a house, and that's not exactly the thing that you want to happen and cause some confusion in the game. Now, I know I said earlier, don't buy minis, as in like don't buy the booster boxes or anything like that. There is a set for real beginners that I would recommend I found here on Amazon. I will leave a link to it down in the description below. This is just a real basic set. They're not exactly like super high quality, super polished minis, but these are durable. These are covering a lot of different characters and creatures that they will find in the adventure, all for under 25 bucks. With a coat of paint, if they want to go that direction, sure, you could paint these up, but as just like the gray plastic minis, I feel like these are actually pretty fantastic for covering a beginner set. And then even me as a pro DM, I'd be happy using some of these at the table just to help represent like, yeah, this creature is right here, right? These basic gray minis, if somebody has a hero that they have in mind, these are likely going to have that covered. Real easy wizard, archer, fighters, all that. If they do start eventually moving over into miniatures, one of the biggest, most helpful tools you will possibly find out there as a player or a DM are condition rings. Now, the ones that I have right here are actually a bit higher end. You can find some out there. I'll leave an Amazon link down below. I used to own a set of these ones. I think they were by ALIZERO, I want to say. But these condition rings, there are a bunch of various conditions in this game or status effects that can be a little bit difficult to track or just remember, yep, this thing is currently petrified or poisoned, you know, whatever. These rings in particular are pretty flexible. I'll be going over these a little bit more in depth in a future video, but the ones that I would recommend for this $25 and under range are a hard plastic. I prefer the flexibility here. I think that these are just going to be a little bit more durable, but the hard plastic ones will work in the interim. And then if later on you decide you do want to upgrade to the flexible ones, go check that one out. Now, the next thing that I'm going to recommend is if you want to take combat into the third dimension, combat tiers. It can be kind of difficult to simulate flight at a table pretty faithfully, but what combat tiers will do is allow the mini to get raised up a couple inches off the table to represent its flying speed. Oh crap! As you can see, this is a platform that has an inch grid on here. I can pop this on here, and once these are put together, if I take a mini like this, well, this Terrorgeist here, and I put it on the base, you see how it's raised up above? I can put minis on the battle grid right here. I'm trying real hard not to break this thing. But yeah, so this helps to simulate flight in combat. These might run you, I think the last time I checked, they were like around $20, but very, very, very much worth it. The next thing that I'm going to recommend, we did talk about miniatures earlier. This is a substitute for miniatures that I found on Etsy, and Etsy is the only place I've been able to find this. These are called PocketDM Tokens. Pocket tokens are a coin representation of what a creature or point of interest or whatever is out on the battlefield or on a map. I have seen tons of people take these out to conventions because they're not worried about losing some of their high dollar miniatures because somebody they don't even know fumbled their beholder and completely broke an eye stalk off of it and snapped it off of the platform. Yeah, These tokens, even if they do have a bunch of miniatures, are great representations of just like, here's a troop right here, here's a troop right here. Very cheap, very reasonable, very high utility. Go check these ones out. Again, the Etsy store listing for that is down in the description below. All right, this one's going to be a pretty easy sell. You need dice to play D&D. There are different apps out there that some people use on their smartphones to roll dice for them, but nobody's going to be upset about you giving them a $4 set of dice in their stocking or whatever. Now, the ones by Chessex are probably the most reasonably priced ones, where I would say Chessex for the solid colors tend to start at about $4. Any higher than that, we're starting to look at like some of their quote-unquote artisanal ones, or like specialty ones where they have maybe glitter or some other effect on the inside. You can get some pretty high dollar artisanal dice, I guess I'll say, that are cut from like rare gemstones or whatever. But for right now, anybody, any dungeon master, even me, for all the dice that I have right now, if someone just dropped a $4 set of dice and was like, yeah, Merry Christmas, I'm gonna be super happy about that, all right? Even if, the beautiful thing about dice is like, even if you get them a duplicate set, they're still gonna be happy because they will find, if they lose one out of the set, it's great. You can get them the exact same set of dice like 3 times in a row and they're gonna be totally content with that. Another company I really, really love, again, not sponsored or anything like that, Arcane Goods. You wanna reach out, more than happy to talk. But these are inspiration coins from Arcane Goods. Inspiration is a thing that some players tend to just kind of forget, but even having the novelty of having this coin right there does help people remember. I don't mind if they keep it from session to session, they hang on to it, they cash it in later, boom, they give me that coin, therein they get their inspiration, whatever. I don't really have to worry about these breaking like I do with some 3D printed stuff. These are metal hardcore coins. I think they were about $4, maybe $5, but I'll double check that. Future Taron put that up here. Anyways, the link to that, again, down in the description below. Okay, now we're getting into my DM kit. Now, one of my favorite things I picked up, discovered this group, I think 2 or 3 years ago. Never really got around to picking some stuff up of theirs. This year, I finally did pick up 2 of their card decks. These are called Quest decks, and I believe the company name was Dice Dungeons. Yeah, Dice Dungeons. So these are a mainstay in just about every D&D YouTuber's DM kit I've seen here. I put out a little like challenge earlier on in the year about, hey everybody, show me what's in your DM kit. And this is something that I keep seeing pop up constantly. These are playing cards that all have different notice board quests on the other side of them. For somebody that is a dungeon master or maybe an aspiring dungeon master, these can be real quick prompts while they're doing their session prep, or something that they can just put up like, oh, they found 4 of these in a town. Quick, this is going to help guide inspiration. This is what's on the notice board. These have so much utility. Even this deck in particular went so far as to inspire Ross Lizer and I to write a one-shot that we published over on the Dungeon Masters Guild. So yeah, I've gotten a lot of utility out of these. Love quest decks. I wish I had the entire box set. I've got 3 in my DM kit right here. But yeah, really, really highly recommend quest decks by Dice Dungeons. Almost forgot about this one. These are magic item tracking pads, or like receipts, by Arcane Goods. What you'll see here is on the front they have the this is telling you all the properties of a magic item in the game, and then if you flip that page, what happens is whenever you write on the white sheet, it copies it over to the yellow sheet, so the player gets to keep a copy of it and the dungeon master gets to keep a copy of it. I've used these quite a bit. Usually after that I will go and make an actual like magic item card for the player. That is just something that helps me actually keep track of what I dished out as a dungeon master at the table. I hope that the guide was helpful. In the next video, we're going to be going over some items that are in the $30 to $100 range. So subscribe if you're interested in seeing some of that. Be safe out there this Black Friday. Hopefully with this one, you all won't be going to like Walmart or any mall to experience all that insane craze. I don't know how busy an Office Depot is going to be on Black Friday. Anyways, keep an eye out for these deals on Cyber Monday, right? Is that what it's called? Anyways. All right. So thank you all very much for being here. Subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know of a gift down there in the comment section below. If you're thinking of one that I didn't consider here, I'm always down to check out some new stuff. All right. So anyways, stay safe out there. Have a great holiday season, and I hope to see you all in the next one.